From Studio 119A, the exit interview with Mirza.
An English teacher and advisor to the Jericho, Ms. Valenza has dedicated her career to nurturing the voices of young journalists in Jericho High School. Through her mentorship, students have not only honed their writing skills, but have also learned the power of storytelling to affect and change. Her efforts have left a mark on the school's literary community, shaping the future of its students one word at a time. Ms. Valenza, welcome to the exit interview.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's
Okay.
getting a little intense these last days.
Yep, me too. So how this works is I just ask you a couple questions and then you just riff off, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
All right. So when you were a child, like whatever child means to you, but when you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A teacher.
Really?
Yeah. So in first grade, my teacher had me help another little boy in class who couldn't do his numbers. And she had us go to the side and I taught him his numbers. And I was like, I love this. And it never wavered. I've never changed my mind. And I always loved school and was good at school. And then when I was a freshman in high school, it wasn't a question of whether I would be a teacher, it was just what kind of a teacher I would be. And I loved to read. I was a voracious reader all growing up. And my 9th grade English teacher just was terrible at teaching literature. And I just sat there and said, I'm going to do this better than she could. And that's when I decided to be a high school English teacher.
Oh, so you just wanted to just show up to her, just be like...
Well, I just didn't want her. She was taking the love of reading away from students, I thought. And I thought that was terrible. And I thought I could do this better than she could.
Well, do you think that you were able to do it?
I think so.
Okay. When you were graduating high school, like 17, 18, what were the plans after?
So I knew I wanted, like I said, I always wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go to college. Now I'd heard during high school that SUNY Oneonta was a state teaching college, so I got my application. But then I was told by my father that his daughters aren't allowed to go away to school. So then a friend of mine was going to New York University. I said, okay, I'll apply there. And that changed my life. And going there, not knowing anything much about it, because there wasn't even much college advisement back then. It was just, people were happy that you were going to college. It didn't matter where. So I applied to NYU. I got in. I got good scholarships. I was a commuter. And lucky for me, they had a very progressive education department, and I majored in English education. So I came out of college with a degree, and they put me into alternative schools in New York City, which was pretty much where a lot of my project-based learning and all of the kind of teacher I am stemmed from that. So it was a really fortuitous thing.
Okay. You said that it was progressive. How was it before versus after in the teaching style?
Well, there are two, the traditional method of teaching is, at its at most extreme is a teacher lecturing to students so that the teacher has the information that she is imparting to kids. But I always wanted to be someone who had more active learning going on, which was part of the whole progressive movement that goes back to the beginning of education. And so I always did project-based learning and had students more involved and active and engaged in constructing knowledge rather than receiving knowledge.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of that also, I got a good training with that in college.
Okay. Is that where where were the origins of Jericho?
So, okay, so that's interesting too. So I had taken a lot of college classes in high school, so I was able to graduate early if I took one summer course. And I took a photojournalism course, and I fell in love. Now, had that happened in my freshman year, maybe I would have changed everything, but it was too late to change, but I loved that. And then in my student teaching, I was paired with a teacher who was also getting trained in video documentary production. And so those things came together. And so when the opportunity to advise the Jericho came up, when I was here, I took it and said, well, I'll take it, but I want to make it an online newspaper that's got multimedia. And the administration was happy to hear that, and that's where that all came from. But prior to that, back in the 1980s when I started, I was teaching video production in a small alternative high school in New York City with deck-to-deck video VHS tapes, and I also did a video yearbook back then in the 80s when that was not really, people didn't even know what that was.
A video yearbook?
Mm-hmm.
Where were the video yearbooks even posted?
They were on VHS tapes that every graduate got. And even when I started the video yearbook here, kids got a DVD.
Oh, that's...
And then eventually, students didn't have DVD players on their computers anymore, so we went to YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
The JNN, were the origins for that also?
So
the
that
same?
started because just a couple of years ago, a former graduate of Jericho, Matt Coleman, who was a teacher at Manhasset doing broadcast journalism there, he invited us to come visit Manhasset where he was teaching, and Dr. Salzman and I went over there and loved what they were doing, and so we brought it over to Jericho and then joined BASH, like we all went to, right, where you guys won an award.
Yep.
And that's, so we're in our third year of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you first came to Jericho, what happened leading up to it? And what happened right after? So
I was a teacher, like I said, in the city, and then I had children, and I wanted to stay home with them. And in those years that I was, I had taken a leave from full-time teaching and was just doing some consulting work. In those years, I moved out to Long Island. So when I was ready to go back to teaching, I had to look for jobs on Long Island because I wanted to be near my kids. And I got 3 offers: Jericho, Syosset, and Dix Hills, and I took Jericho.
Is there a reason you took Jericho, or?
Honestly, yes. It was, a great school. All 3 were really good schools.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. But Jericho was willing to keep me part-time, and I wanted to be part-time to be home with my kids a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm forever grateful for those years that I
Yeah.
was part-time here because it really supported my parenting.
What are you going to do now, since you're
Well,
retiring?
I am going to join the faculty at Adelphi University.
Okay.
I'm going to be advising the college newspaper and website and Instagram account. And then in the spring, I'll be teaching a web journalism course. So I'm kind of taking what I do here at the high school level and bringing it to the college level.
Okay. When you first came to Jericho, was journalism even a class? Were the classes you teach now even a
No,
class?
journalism was not a well, I think there was always a journalism course, but it wasn't a production course. It was more like an analyzing news course, and it wasn't offered all the time. So I took over advising the Jericho, and then I decided to propose the new media communications course, which turned into a 4-year sequence, and I also did the sports journalism. We're trying to get the broadcast course could run on its own, so I started this whole program that you see now once I took over the advising the paper.
And who's taking over now that?
Ms. Flavianos is going to take over.
Oh, that's lovely.
So she's been joining us. She's been down here a little bit. She's getting to know you guys and what you do here, and she's been visiting our class every day and learning the ropes that way. But she'll be great. She'll be great.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for all the contributions that you did in Jericho.
Thank you.
Even though I only knew you for basically this year, but you were very lovely to. I have met you, and
It's been a pleasure meeting you
Yeah.
too and working with all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And now you know the rest of the story.